What's up there, fellas? How you doing? Hopefully you're doing good. Hopefully your day is going okay. Well, hey, welcome to Famous Football. I'm your host, Nate. Let's talk football. We're going to be discussing the Premier League. What every single game, not every single game, mostly game that was played among the Big Six. We're going to be discussing what happened, what should have happened, or what went well for the most part. Most game that was played in the Premier League. I know it was 10 games. We're going to be discussing most of them that was played. But before we get into all of that, how about you do me a favor? Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. I need it. Support this video, support this channel. Much appreciated. Let's get into it. The Premier League. A lot of dramas happening, a lot of things going on within there, right? But we're going to be discussing, like I said, everything that happened. Before we get into game for game, what happened, I'm going to be showing in the Premier League week 4, what was some of the pattern that I see, what was some of the things that I observed, what happened within the Premier League as a whole. So, number one, one thing I saw was expected goals, right? If you watch the game or you pay attention to the game between Sunderland and Palace and Everton and Villa, right? The expected goal in that game was very high to begin with. So there, as for instance, Palace expected goal was high. I think Everton also was high over Villa, but then there wasn't really any goal in that game. Both games ended 0-0, right? So there wasn't any. So that kind of show problem in week 4, right, in terms of converting goal, because we saw, like, for instance, Palace had a lot of opportunity that they could have converted, but they didn't do it. And then Sunderland, not so much. We also saw that with Everton and Villa, especially Everton was on Villa neck, right, in terms of creating chances, in terms of shots, in terms of goal opportunities, but none of them they were able to convert. And you can also say the same for Villa as well. They couldn't convert any single thing. The entire game ended 0-0, right? So that was one of the observation I saw. And then 2, late drama, right? Listen, this one hurt me, right? Chelsea also was part of it. We saw if you watch the game or the highlight for Chelsea and Liverpool, you understand what I'm talking about in terms of late drama, right? Chelsea was down, came back in the game, winning 2-1 in the last minute at around the 95th minute, or 93rd, between the 93rd to the 95th minute. They consider a goal, right? Ending the game 2-2. And we also saw Liverpool as well, that getting the winner from a penalty, right? So we saw that last minute drama. What is the Premier League? You expect that as well, So the new signing impact. We saw Watermaid from Newcastle, what he did for Newcastle, the game that he played, absolutely brilliant. For me, the goal that he scored, absolutely brilliant, right? He's moving like Haaland, so we saw that impact. And then you go to Arsenal, you see the impact of new signings as well with the Arsenal team, right? You see the kid called Masquerade from Arsenal. I'm probably butchering his name, but he had a pretty good game in my opinion, a very good game. He was solid for Arsenal. I watched the game and he was one of Arsenal best player on the pitch. And then you had Nonu Madueke as well. You had Gyökeres that was on the score sheet, Zubamendi that was also on the score sheet, and then you have Eze with the assist. So the impact of new signings was another thing that was observed in the Premier League week 4. And then defensive discipline, where we see a lot of people slacking. Now, if you watch this the Liverpool game, right? Ugochukwu got a red card, and I think he should have got a red card, right? Because even the foul that he had on, what's his name, McAllister, within the game, that should have been a red card, but that one didn't happen. But he got a red card later down the game, and I think that was a well-deserved red card. And then Brentford as well. So it's like Brentford and Chelsea. So you saw defensive discipline, because we were slacking at the end. Now, when I come to talking about individual games, I have more to say about that goal. But in terms of individual discipline, we saw most things slacking, at least at the end, or not really being on it, maybe taking what's it called, a break in some sense, and then they getting caught when they shouldn't be getting caught, right? So we saw a little bit of that, but that was pretty much it. Those were the 4 things of pretty much 4 things that I was in the Premier League this concern. So the expected goal was low, late drama, new signing impact, defensive discipline. They need to work on that. Chelsea work on it. But we talk about Arsenal first, right? Right, I already told you the impact of new signing. So almost everyone that was involved in terms of goal scoring was Arsenal new signing. Like I told you about the kid Masquerade. I'm ruining his name, but him absolutely brilliant. He showed great composure whenever he was on the ball. He looked to advance with it. He looked to do something with it. Progressive passes. I think he was doing pretty good with that, and that was helping Arsenal a lot. So, and Arsenal have great depth in terms of squad. The team that they have, because now Saka is out. What's his name? Their captain is also out, Odegaard, but they're not showing any sign of weakening, and that's kind of point to the depth in that they have in their squad, and I think that's pretty good. And it's serving Arsenal well because you have someone like Eze, you have Madueke. Now Madueke, I know Arsenal fans raving about him, how he's doing good and whatnot. Listen, in my opinion, as a Chelsea fan, I haven't watched Madueke at Chelsea. I don't think he's doing much different than what he did at Chelsea. I'm just saying, right? Because what he did at Chelsea, he took people on. He was that guy, and that was his game. For us Chelsea fans that love Madueke, we know that's what Madueke do. That's what Madueke add to the team. But in terms of what's it called, his final season, there where we have problem with him. So it's like sometimes he take time, way more time on the ball that he shouldn't be taking. And you saw that with the Arsenal game. As much as he had a good game, sometimes you see Gyökeres waiting for the ball, other people in the box waiting for the ball. Madueke is taking extra time. Madueke taking extra touches, and things that you don't need, because sometimes you want the play going as fast as possible. Now he's a winger, and I understand sometimes those things are needed, but not every single time, because all you do is delay the play, right? So I know if Arsenal fans happy, I'm happy for them, but that's it. And Eze doing what Eze does, right? Like that assist that he gave to Gyökeres. If it was Madueke was going to touch that ball, take extra touch and do something else. But as a one time into Gyökeres, and Gyökeres, buried it, right? So that's pretty good for them, and Arsenal get the win. But Forest, on the other hand, we know they're just coming back from their manager being sacked, and now they have Ange as their new manager. Now, the problem, I think it might have been a problem because they didn't have that much training to begin with before they face Arsenal. And now, even if they have much training going into the game against Arsenal, they are not the favorite. So now, considering all of that, I think that also kind of hurt them. But it's Forest, and I know they've been slacking. So they lost their last game against Villa, and now this one. So they need to pick up form. They need to do something. And but yeah, Arsenal's looking good. They're looking encouraging, and yeah. Hopefully they finish second, but then we move. Before we talk about Chelsea, let's talk about Spurs. Spurs and West Ham. West Ham need to do something. They need to pick up from. They need to show something, right? Because they haven't won at their own ground for like 4 or 5 or 6 different games that they play at home. They haven't won. And they need to show some sort of energy. Now you can see the fans not very happy. Graham Potter need to do something. He need to show, some sort of a tactical masterclass. He need to come up with something. Now, I can't just blame him because I don't think West Ham have the depth and squad that they once did before. And I can also blame him because I think you need to work with what you have. And you know what you have. You had the transfer window to be able to demand some of the thing or make the right signing. And I don't think he did any one of that. But Spurs, on the other hand, show absolute dominance, right? They play very well. They did everything they were supposed to do. They showed that they are a big team. They are a big club. Xavi Simon's debut, I think he was brilliant. Now let's say I'm a little bit whatever, because we should have gotten him, but we didn't. And now he's at Spurs. He's doing okay. He's doing good. He's doing what he's supposed to do. But brilliant performance for Spurs in general, and I think what Thomas Frank is doing for them, the way they're being set up, I think is far better than the way they were playing last season with Ange, right? But right now they're showing great form, they're showing great structure, they're showing great balance in terms of team playing, right? You can see what Spurs is doing. You can see football. You do enjoy when you watch Spurs playing. You do enjoy them playing as compared to last season, and they have some more great depth in squad, right? Because I haven't even seen Bentancur play. Kulusevski is not even back yet. So they have Madison is not even back yet. So they have good depth in terms of squad. And they will need it considering the fact that they're also in the Champions League as well. And we know they're going to be playing, I think, on Tuesday. So we will see what happens with that. Now, I will bring you my review about the Champions League, right? After everything. So hopefully around Thursday, you should get my review for the entire Champions League. But tomorrow, I'll be bringing you my preview for Chelsea versus Bayern, right? I'll give you my preview for that. And then on Thursday, after all of the Champions League game has been played, or maybe Wednesday, I will give you my review about it. So keep your eye peeled for that. We move. Liverpool versus Burnley, or Burnley versus Liverpool. Now, Liverpool have been, they have been showing champions mentality. And what do I mean by that? The fact that they can go to anywhere, and when I say go to any ground and grab a win, because when they go, usually those teams have a plan. If you watch that game against Newcastle, you saw what happened against Burnley, right? Burnley had a plan, and Burnley plan was working until last minute to time. Until Hannibal decided, went mad, put his hand out and got a handball, but a cross came in from free palm, and then his hand was out, hit it. It was a clear penalty. And even he knew that. But the way they've been getting a last minute to time win, and that's just kind of the mentality that they have, right? Until the whistle is gone. Until the final whistle, they don't switch up. And because of that, I think that's been helping them get the win that they need, right? Now they're sitting on the top of the table, and they deserve it. Isak didn't even get to play. Now, the only player that I would say maybe is not really involved for Liverpool has been Wirtz. Wirtz so far, I say he's struggling. He's been the only player that is struggling so far. But the quality is there. The ability is there, and we can all see it. And there's no doubt in that one. So I'm not looking to say, okay, he's struggling or whatever the case. I think he's going to be great for Liverpool down the line. He's trying to find his form. He's trying to adjust to the league, and he is doing that a little bit. And I know he's gonna, find it difficult for a little while, and that's understandable. Now, Ekitike hit the ground running, couple other players hit the ground running, but he on the other hand is struggling, and we understand that, and I think it's gonna take him a little bit. But as a player, the quality is there, and Liverpool mentality right now, and I think that's what most people look at and go, they're gonna win the league again, right? And they are serious contenders for every single trophy out there, every single competition that they are in. The Champions League, they are a serious contender for it. The FA Cup, contender for it. The Carabao Cup, they are contenders for any single thing that they are in right this season. And I think, they might be, they might win a treble. You never know. But do I think they are going to win a treble? No. But do they look like a serious contender for that? Yes, they do look like one. And I will give it to them. But congratulations to Liverpool for getting that win, bringing people in, making the sub that they should be making. So Onslaught using his head basically. And, they have the players for it. So congratulations. And now they're sitting on top of the league. And then we talk about Chelsea. Chelsea versus Brentford, or Brentford versus Chelsea. Now, this game, Chelsea started this game pretty much the same way they start every game. Now, I've given my review about this game. I went in depth about everything that happened in terms of with the players and every single individual player and everything. So you can go check that out. Brentford versus Chelsea, now it's pretty much the same thing. I told you before, when the mid-table team or the lower table team play the big six, or teams that that quote unquote better than them, they sit back and wait for the counter attack. It happened exactly as like that. Chelsea struggled, in the first half. We look scrappy. We look unorganized. We look like we haven't played football before. Now you can blame that to maybe the people that were on the page, the team selection for Enzo Maresca. I understand what he's trying to do here, but maybe trying to get people ready or help. And they found most of them just from international break, and they had to travel long distance back and forth. So now you want them to rest because they also have to travel to Bayern. So I get that, but I think he needed to put a better lineup than what he did. He definitely. Now, once you get the win secure, because if you watch my preview for that, I said he should bring in start with at least a somewhat strong lineup, and then bring in around the 50-60 minute, bring in all those people that need to be up in, and so you can get those people to rest as much as you want them to rest. But until then, but that day ain't happen. And we started with a lineup that I think that we struggle and we suffer with, and Brentford did what Brentford needed to do. We came back when Cole Palmer and all of the other guys came on. Reece James, Chelsea got the win. Chelsea got the equalizer, got the goal with Caicedo, but Brentford came back in the last minute of time. Now, that goal that Brentford scored, it should be ruled out because one of Brentford player, I'm forgetting his name, was definitely offside when the ball was played, or when contact was made with the ball, the free kick, he was offside. but Vieira didn't take any action with that. And even with that, tossing was absolutely shoved in the box. Now you can literally see this guy hand, an extension of his hand on tossing, but none of that was taken into consideration. But if it was the other way around, if Chelsea was the one to get an equalizer against Brentford, right, in that game, everybody will be going mad. Everybody, but now the entire media, everybody will be saying something that goal shouldn't have counted. Not all of that, because it happened with Fulham and everybody went nuts. Now with Chelsea, everybody's keeping quiet, right? But it is what it is. Now we're going to talk the final game, right? Now there are other games that play. I already mentioned them, but Man United versus City, or Man City versus Man United, right? Man United went to the Etihad. They absolutely got decimated, right? They got destroyed. They got laid flat, right? We all know Man United is in the trenches. Now, Amorim's system, I think he need to reevaluate his system. Now, when I say reevaluate his system, not necessarily the formation to begin with, but something tactically, because we've seen other managers play with the same formation and they are successful. So it's not so much about the formation, it's about the tactics. And sometimes the players that you use in the formation also is very crucial, right? Because I told you before that Man United need a proper wing back. I don't think they have a wing back, right? The players that they have available to them, to me, in my opinion, are not wing back, and their midfield is absolutely a problem. Now, if you're playing against City, that have one of the best midfield in the league, or are known for their at least dominance in the midfield, you need to show some sort of tactical understanding in how can you counter City in that area. How can you best them in that area, right? Because if you can hold City in the midfield, like I said, with some sort of maybe balance it with an aggression, and you also have a little bit of a tactical player with you, you more likely to do it. But in that game, Bruno was terrible, in my opinion. And not just him, but most Man United players didn't look like what they were doing. But especially if you look at Man United first goal, Doku later basically just ran through the entire Man United defense. Foden header is a goal, right? If you look at the game, Man United didn't look like they know what they were doing. They struggle, right? Amorim's system is not necessarily working yet. And I think he need to kind of think about it tactically. How can he get the best of some of the players that he have? Right now, the energy level is down. Right now, the confidence in every single Man United player is down. You need to find a way to be able to get that back to where it should be, right? Where the players should be thinking at least positively. Right now, you can tell that Man United, whatever they do, and they're trying to force it, right? It's not coming out, easily for them. And I understand they're in a very tough spot right now. They are in the trenches. They are in the mud, right? The man has basically played 31 games, right? As a coach for Man United, or as a manager for Man United. He's won 8 games, lost 16, and draw 7. Now, if you didn't know, that's not a very good start, right? He is the worst manager for Man United for a while, at least for like 50 years, since he is the worst manager for Man United with this start that he has right now. So he need to reevaluate what he's doing, right? And think about it. Or otherwise, Man United are going to keep suffering, and Man United are going to keep having problems. They're going to keep having difficulties. But City, Erling Haaland on the score sheet, they're absolutely brilliant, and for me, they deserve to win. And I didn't expect Man United to win. Absolutely not. I didn't know City was going to win, but I also think it was going to be some of a game, considering the fact that City haven't been on good form and Man United also haven't been on a good form. So we're going to see what will happen. But City showed up and Man United didn't. But that was pretty much it in terms of every single game between the big 6 play, right? So in terms of that, right, I have my Premier League team of the week, and I'll give it to you. In goal, I won Ruth, right? I won Ruth. I think the Sunderland goalkeeper, he was good. And then the right, Anderson, Van Dijk, Kuznetsov, I think had a very good game for City, right? As a defender, he is good. Now we know he struggled with a little bit, right? Especially his first game, that was against Chelsea. I still remember that. But as a defender, he has the pace, he has the aggression, right? He can defend. He's fairly good on the ball as well. He's good. He is good. He will definitely be good for City as a goal. Now, in midfield, you have Caicedo and Zubimendi. They both of them was on the score sheet and had a brilliant performance all in all, right? So they both on the score sheet. And then as a 10, I have Semedo to play as a 10, right? He also had a brilliant game, brilliant week, I'll say. And then Doku, for me, one of the best player on the pitch for Man City. You saw his quickness. You saw that, taking on people. He have that ability. And what a great game for him. And then you have Madueke. For me, a right winger out there this week. This week, for me, he was one of the best winger out there. And I give it to him. And then up front, you have the big man himself, Erling Haaland. And I think he had a great game as well. So for me, my Premier League player of the week, right, is between Haaland and Zubimendi. Zubimendi had a great game. Haaland also had a great game. Who would I give it to? I personally would give it to Zubimendi. I'll give it to him. The position he's played, scoring 2 goals. Erling Haaland had more chances to score more goals than he did, but he didn't bury them. All right, Zubimendi had to him bury both of them, so I'll give it to Zubimendi, and that's my Premier League player and my Premier League team of the week as well. So let me know your thoughts down below. Much appreciated. Again, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. My preview was Chelsea versus Bayern, so stay tuned for that. Thank you. See you later. Cheers.